Good morning, gang. Happy Tuesday morning. In prepping, in life, I guess, if you will, uh, one of the most important things that we do is gather intelligence. Okay. And I'm not talking about learning how to can food or how to garden or whatever. I'm talking about learning about what's going on around you. Right. And so think about it in an SHTF situation. You know, it's all great. Let's say we're in World War III. Okay, hypothetically, the West versus the East. China against the United States. Put it that way. It's all fine and dandy to know, hey, the Chinese are 5 miles away. That's a little bit. What direction are they heading? What's their armament? Are they all on foot? Are they coming in tanks? Okay, you know, different things, and put it in anything like that. Put it into just a Kenosha, Wisconsin deal or a Portland, Oregon, you know, hey, BLM is running around burning down buildings. Okay. Portland's a big city. Kenosha's a decent sized city. You know, where are they doing this? Which way are they heading? Are they coming toward us? Do I need to be Kyle Rittenhouse and sit out front with an AR-15? Or can I continue to watch Jeopardy on TV tonight? Okay. Are they coming my way? So that being said, it's important for all of us to pay attention to what's going on. And one of those things is, what are other preppers doing to prepare? Okay. YouTube is great for that. There's plenty of blogs. I mean, there's Facebook groups, whatever. And it's great to go learn what those people are doing because you gather two things from them: good information and garbage. That's it. Okay. Now, I've said many times here, some people may completely disagree with me. That's cool. Take what's important and leave the rest. And I encourage anybody to do that anywhere. A couple of you guys sent me an article yesterday that was on USA Today. Okay. And I mean, of all the newspapers that are still in print in the United States, USA Today has got to be the one that most qualifies to be birdcage liner. Okay. There's next to nothing in there that's ever worth reading. It's like reading People magazine or something like that. Who cares? It's great if you're sitting in the doctor's office and there's nothing else to do. Well, hell, to USA Today, it's pretty much sitting in the hotel coffee shop or the airport because it's kind of like CNN. That's the only place that anybody's going to ever pay attention to what you have to say. But a couple of you sent me this article yesterday, and I'll link it below so you can read it because everybody needs to start their day off with a good laugh. The article is titled, "Could the 2024 election cause society to collapse? Some preppers think so, and they're ready." Okay. And just to give you this right from the USA Today is about as liberal as Fox or the Atlantic. I mean, they make the New York Times look like a conservative newspaper. But so it starts right on this article. And again, I've got to think this is some sort of opinion piece because it's certainly not news. Okay. This article starts right off, just goes into the liberal hive mind right from the get go. Okay. And they're talking about this one lady who is a prepper, right? Okay. And second paragraph, she lives in North Carolina apparently, talking about the things she prepares for. And they mention, are you prepared for like hurricanes or storms or whatever? And she's like, oh, a little bit. But that's not the big one. This is right out of the article. Quote, instead, she worries that an incompetent federal government run by someone like current Republican frontrunner and former President Donald Trump will botch the humanitarian response to a predictable disaster. Okay, let's take the blinders off. You're prepping for something in your imagination rather than something that's in reality with the, to use all the terms in this sentence, the incompetent federal government that we currently have, run by the criminal who is Joe Biden, will botch a humanitarian response to a predictable disaster. Okay. Currently, we have a president creating the disasters. You're not worried about the current disasters that we've got going on. Southern border, crime going nuts, inflation. You're not worried about any of those. You're worried about, as the article says later, Donald Trump coming in as an authoritarian dictator. No, that's what we have now. Okay. When you have the current president coming up and saying everybody's going to get rid of their gasoline powered cars, everybody's going to get rid of their coal generated electricity. Really, even GM and Ford came out and said, we're not making these anymore. We're going to let the consumer dictate what we're going to build, not the government. Okay. There's the word in there. We're going to let the consumer dictate what we build, not the government. The current POS of the United States, PASOTUS, is already established himself as a dictator. Okay. As this woman says, you have people afraid Trump's going to declare himself dictator of the United States, and people on the left are going to end up as targets in some sort of authoritarian system. Okay. Now, remind me of all the wars that we got into between 2016 and 2020. Remind me of how the crime rate was, or the unemployment rate was, or the illegal immigration rate was. Don't seem to remember those being too authoritarian or, run by a dictator. No, we actually had happy days are here again for those 4 years. Okay. But she goes into how she's prepping. Okay. And this was interesting. And just so you know, this is the opposition to what you're doing. She has 90 days of food for her family of 6. Good start. Congratulations. Ain't going to get you long. I have 90 days of food. That'll get me through a lot. Tell that to the people in Ukraine. How long 90 days of food last them? Oh, I don't know, till the beginning of last summer? What have they been doing for the last 18 months? I'd say the people in Ukraine right now can say, yeah, we're living in an SHTF situation. Tanks rolling by, people getting shot in the streets, mortars going off, stuff like that. Yeah, I'd say that qualifies. 90 days worth of food didn't do you squat. Okay. She doesn't talk about any sort of replenishment, raising animals, growing food, anything like that. She's got 90 days worth of food. The other part in there, she and her family do not like guns. They do. They'll use them if they absolutely have to, but they don't have any guns. Great. Thanks for your 90 days worth of food. You saved it. You ain't eating it. Okay. As soon as somebody knows that you can't protect what you have, you don't have it anymore. Knock, knock, knock. I want your food. Oh, okay. Congratulations. The article went on. This just blew my mind. Okay. Apparently, there's some sort of research facility or whatever called finder.com. Never heard of it. Okay. And they claim that in the past 12 months, 39% of millennials and 40% of Zoomers reported having spent money on prepping. I'm not thinking that's going to be logical. Okay. I bought a map. Oh, okay. That's spending money on prepping. $2.99, whatever. This is what you're up against, guys. These are the people who think they're ready for whatever comes. Right? I mean, it just gets more and more interesting. I mean, eventually the article goes on to talk about Colonel Drew Miller and Fortitude Ranch. I mentioned them a week ago. Actually, I'm trying to put together something right now where I can have a conversation with Colonel Miller about the vision that Fortitude Ranch has versus the vision that, say, I have or maybe you have or whatever. Because, again, there is no one size fits all to prepping. And I can certainly see a place for things like Fortitude Ranch. I have some questions for Dr. Miller, and we'll see if, we can get together and explain those. So hopefully that'll be coming up in the next couple of weeks. Okay. This article says 30% of Americans have reported to take some steps towards emergency preparedness in the last year. It's about the highest number I've ever heard, because usually I hear we've gone up from about 1 to about 3. But according to this, we're at 30%. Again, what's considered prepping? I bought a canner. I bought some seeds. Oh, great. Again, prepping is not collecting stuff. Prepping is doing stuff. Okay? I laugh when this woman that they quote, she's saying, oh, prepping isn't about getting alternate power or getting weaponry or anything. Like, how do you plan on surviving? If your idea of prepping is, gee, I have 90 days worth of food and, ooh, I'm done, I'll give you part of this. You are correct. Ooh, you're done. Because you're not gonna last. You guys know, and I know, that in any sort of chaos, be it societal collapse, be it war, be it Yellowstone goes off, be it the economy collapses, whatever, not the Kumbaya rainbows and unicorns that the Democrats all believe in. Real possibilities from what's actually going on, factual information that we analyze and see what the logical next step is. We all know that within the first week, you're going to see a mass casualty event. People are just going to freak and die. Okay? And I guess, what is it? They say the studies, wherever they come from, just numbers we've heard. I can't tell you how accurate they are because, again, we've never been through it. 90% of the population will die in the first year. Okay? I hope, I'm preparing to be one of the 10% that makes it to day 366. This woman won't make it to day 91. Okay. But you got to read into some of this stuff and go, okay, here's, in your opinion, okay, because each one of us has our own of what's going to work, and different situations call for different solutions. But you got to read some of the stuff that people spew out there and go, that's a good idea. And then you read some of the other ones and you go, check, not anywhere possible. Listening to her whole idea is the Kumbaya. We're all going to sit around the campfire and, tell scary stories as we roast our marshmallows and hot dogs, that everything's about community. She talks about, the funniest part in there. Oh, I'm prepping just in case my neighbors don't have anything. You got freaking 90 days worth of food, lady. Okay. You haven't prepped for your family yet. You aren't anywhere near ready to start taking care of your neighbors. Okay. 90 days worth of food for a family of 6. Okay. So let's see. If your neighbors have 6 people, that means you now have 45 days worth of food. Ever think about it that way? It's not like you can, oh, but I'll just go to the grocery store. I listen to AOC. The grocery stores will always be there. That's where meat comes from, right? This is the logic of the people that we are going to be faced against. Okay. The funny part and how she ends it is she goes, something along the lines of Jesus would slap the shit out of anybody who had food and refused to help their neighbors who were hungry. And I also look at the other side and I go, yeah. And God helps those who help themselves, right? All out.